Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
That sounded
Little activity before we got started.
It's not. It wasn't X-rated activity. It sounded like we were being inappropriate. Oh wow! I'm sorry. We're not.
I don't know what you're saying.
We're not in our right minds today.
I don't know. We're crazy.
Corona fever.
Welcome.
The Corona fever.
Welcome to Center at Home with
your
Navah
guests,
and Matt.
Tom and Hardy.
Tom and Hardy?
Isn't that it?
Tom and Hardy?
Tom and Hardy.
Who's Tom and Hardy?
Those three, like the Three
Oh,
Stooges.
Laurel and Hardy?
Laurel and Hardy.
Oh, Laurel and Hardy.
I go the Three Stooges.
But that's something you don't hear every day.
Getting to me.
Laurel and Hardy.
Well, I was thinking of the actor Tom Hardy.
Yes.
Because I frequently think of.
Because you like Tom Hardy.
I do.
You do. You like Tom Hardy.
Not as much as some others. But
Yes. So here we are. We're back another week. And how's it going?
Great.
You doing okay?
I had a great day. I got a incredible swim in.
You got an okay? Oh, I see. Okay, keep going, Navah.
And no, I was just going to say that everyone has to figure out what their thing is. Everyone has to figure out what their self-care thing is. And for me, it's swimming. I've talked about it all the time. But the last time we had our show, I was in kind of a funk. And I realized that it was connected to the fact that it had been bad weather and it had been raining. And the weather today was perfect. I got a full swim in.
Got your sun.
I just feel completely uplifted.
Well, good. That's what it's all about. I like it when you're uplifted.
Thing?
What's my thing?
Yeah, you need a thing.
You know, I was here today planning the poker tournament.
Okay, that still work though.
News is coming up on the poker tournament.
You need to find your thing.
I do.
That uplifts you. And my dad.
I have some ideas.
My dad used to have a saying called, instead of recreation, he called it recreation, to recreate yourself every day. And for my dad, obviously, it was surfing. And for me, it used to be surfing. But he used to say all the time that he would come to the beach as a broken man. And when he'd go in the water, he would be recreated. It wasn't recreation for him. He was recreated each time. And it sounds sappy, but I feel that I'm getting kind of a variation of that by being able to swim and being in the sun and seeing the birdies.
Well, you are a mermaid.
That's true.
She's officially a mermaid.
You're my landlubber.
I am. I'm like I'm John Smith.
No, it wasn't Ariel and.
What's his name?
Who's all my friends out there? Come on, who was it?
Little
Ariel
Mermaid.
And.
I don't know.
I feel terrible. I get my Disney badge taken away. I don't remember Ariel's sweetheart.
Just so you guys know at home, the way this works is if you guys have a question or you have a comment, please feel free to write one down because we're here for you and we want to know what you think and we want to convey what you think to everyone out there. So let us know what you think. Ask us questions.
Ideas, topics for shows.
We have a great show today. We have so this is like week 90 of the pandemic, and we're all kind of like at the end of our rope, and we're freaking out about school, homeschool.
But we're getting to the end of it.
We're getting to the end of it, but then there's summer, and what are you going to do in the summer? So it's all this kind of crazy stuff. And then what are we going to do in September? So a lot of stuff has been shared. A lot of information has been shared from the CDC and some graphics that some people have a problem with. I actually don't have a problem with it because I actually read the 40-page document that talks about school and going back to school, and pretty much it coincided with what was on that graphic that I shared that Facebook told me contained false information. But I looked at it and I was very happy with what I represented. So, but we're going to talk to a teacher, a very interesting teacher, because she's actually a neurodiverse teacher. She's autistic, and she's going to join us. She's also one of our instructors, and an amazing lady named Amy Fagan.
Amy has been working with us since we started Camp Ed. And then she went into the full kind of enrichment year. But she also has become a very dear friend to me. And also, I call her the spokesperson of, she's almost like my editor as well, because she lets me know from the self-advocate point of view. Because to me,
what's right and what's wrong.
Well, just nothing, she's going to kill me that I forgot her slogan, but nothing
about us without us.
Yes. And I really believe that with all my heart. And I try everything I do to have Amy go over it and let me know that I'm including the self-advocates, that we're employing autistic adults, that we have special needs people in our camp that are instructors and junior counselors, and in our year-round enrichments as well. So Amy Fagan also happens to be probably the smartest person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah,
honestly,
pretty smart.
She is, and we like to call her the modern millennial Temple Grandin.
So we have her coming up, and we're gonna go to Chelsea, but Chelsea's not with us today for our Hollywood
for
moment.
A very good reason.
For a very good reason,
very special reason, a very wonderful reason.
It is a very special day for Chelsea. It is what? It is her birthday. So we want to say to Chelsea, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chelsea. We love you. And we're so stoked that you're on board with us. And you're, she has her own show now.
Yeah.
She's our social director.
She does a movie chat every Saturday night.
The crazy thing is, I've known Chelsea since she walked through the door of Maxie's first grade classroom at Temple Bethel Day. And she has always been this wonderful ball of light and energy and incredible singer. And we're going to see a video, God willing.
Well, God willing, because this is the first time I've ever done this. So please, at home, forgive me if I screw this up royally.
We do all of our own electronics, so we're doing the best that we can.
For
Not
screwing
electronics,
this up. So what we're going to show you is hopefully, and hopefully you can hear it.
Right.
If not, please comment on it, because I'm terrified. We're going to show you this incredible video Chelsea did of my dad's 90th birthday party, which was a fundraiser for the center. And
it was a fun night.
It was a great night.
She was amazing.
She's
stealing Ryan Seacrest's
She is
job,
giving Ryan Seacrest a little run for his money. So this is going to be. Go ahead. You can kind of pump it up, and I'll get it going.
Okay. So Chelsea, we said to her, Chelsea, we really want you to be a part of the gala, and how would you like? In what capacity do you see yourself? And she is such a natural host. And hostess, I should say, actually. And so we put her on the red carpet, and she was interviewing stars as they came to the red carpet, as just like she was one of the paparazzi, but she was a very special paparazzi, and she got some amazing interviews, and
hopefully you're going to see it. She's a
natural at this.
And hopefully you're going to see it right now.
What the hell do you want?
How does it feel to be turning 90?
It feels great, and it feels that there are so few competitors.
So the trailer for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker just came out. What can we expect for Luke on this particular phase of the Star Wars journey?
Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. I'm not allowed to say anything.
Nothing, not even like a 3-word clue?
I really can't.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's better to be surprised.
I love surprises. And then I have to ask, so you've voiced some of the most significant villains, including the Joker, most recently Chucky from Child's Play. Any villains you would like to portray next?
Well, again, I never expected that to happen. It's particularly satisfying to play the Joker because he's the absolute opposite of Luke Skywalker. So it's fun to do animation because a character actor disappears into their roles, and in animation, that they do that for you because they cast with their ears, not their eyes, and you disappear into every role you play.
It's your birthday.
Yes. I know it's my birthday. In a couple of weeks, we just decided to put on the gala while we still had time to make sure that if I don't make it to my birthday, we'll have this gala on the record.
What's your fondest memory of Ed Asner, personal or otherwise? From just
When he insults me. He just says, kiss my ass all the time. And I know that's the only way I know he loves me.
And so I hear that there's a revival of Mad About You. What's it like to be back with the cast and everything?
Great. It's great. Feel, you want to be young again. I'm not exactly young again, but it's a step to the old days. So it's nice.
I'm Chelsea Darnell with the 411 Rewind. Maureen, thank you for coming here.
Thank you so much for having us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? So I have to ask, what's your best memory of Ed Asner, personal or from watching him?
Okay, so one of my best memories is when I first saw him on screen. I immediately fell in love with him. I just thought, what an incredible actor, and so charming and so lovable. And then I had the honor to work with him. I was cast. I was on a show called The Brady Bunch, and after that show was over, I was dying to play different roles and dramatic things, and I got a great role on the Lou Grant show. And he could not have been nicer. I think he knew that I was really nervous and so excited about the role. And he took me under his wing, and he was one of the most generous actors I have ever worked with in my life. And I've been in love with him ever since. I mean, when you meet somebody and you're in love with them on the screen, but then you meet them and you see the depth and just their heart and how beautiful they are, I just have remained his friend, and I'm a huge supporter of his, and I'm honored to be here to support the Family Center. I think it's fabulous what they're doing.
That's amazing. Also, I heard that you helped renovate the Brady Bunch house on HGTV. What was that like?
It was awesome. It really was. It was really fun. We hadn't all been together as a group for 15 years. So it was just awesome to get reacquainted. And I love homes. I love everything, home, garden, kitchen, all of that. And so it was really wonderful to work with HGTV. The crew was fantastic. Everyone involved with the show, their hearts were just in it 100%. So it was so great to get up and go, hey, I'm going to go work with people that are so loving and caring. And it was a fun show to be involved with.
Well, Maureen, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you.
What do you love most about the Ed Asner Family Center?
All the girls I meet.
What's your fondest memory of Ed Asner, personal or otherwise?
I just gave him a kiss. That was a good one.
So I have to say right off the bat, I'm a diehard fan of MASH, and I have to ask, what's your fondest memory from working on the show?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything about
Everything.
it. I loved it.
So first off, you're hosting tonight's program. How does it feel?
I'm a nervous wreck.
Oh my! After all the years of hosting, you're a nervous wreck.
I am. I'm shaking him. No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Do you dance yourself? What's your favorite kind of dance?
With enough tequila, I can dance. Yeah.
What's your fondest memory of working with Ed Asner on the Mary Tyler Moore Show?
It's the same thing all 1,000 times.
What is it?
Well, he grabs me.
What inspires you most about the organization that's under your name?
Well, that it's an honorable name when it's linked with the organization. I know something about the handicap. I know something about the people who are victims of it. And I'm delighted that we can do something to further the development of the world towards autism.
How are you?
I know the whole family. Crazy dad with the hat? Where is Mike?
He is over there.
Where he belongs. Right? This is Isabel.
Hi.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm with Chelsea Darnell, everyone.
So first off, what's your best memory of Ed Asner, personal or from watching him on television or in the movie?
My best memory of Ed Asner was when I saw the Mary Tyler Moore show, and I wanted to be an actor, and I looked at him and I went, well, hell, I could do that. He's one of my comedic heroes, to be honest. So the first time I saw him on the Mary Tyler Moore show.
That's amazing. Now, I got to get this out of the way. So you went to high school with my parents?
I went to high school with your parents.
What are your...
They were horrible to me. Terrible. Your dad continued to bully me even through my adult life.
I am so sorry.
Actually, I have fond memories of high school with your dad, and we used to, I used to put him on my lap and we would do a ventriloquist act. This is true. I would talk and he would move his mouth, and we even did that at a talent show. But now that he's a big producing star, he doesn't talk about that.
What's your best memory of Ed Asner, personal or otherwise, just from watching him?
Just his comedic takes on with Mary Tyler Moore. I mean, just like, you know, she would just he would underplay it or overplay it, and how scared she was of him said that there was something underneath that in real life. And I just remember the most that last episode of Mary Tyler Moore, where they were all fired by the network and they were all hugging each other and moving as one group. It was beautiful. Yeah, I remember forever.
What's been one of the proudest moments during your career?
Talking to you.
Very honored. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I'm Chelsea Darnell from the 411 Rewind, signing off.
Well, that was amazing. That was Chelsea Darnell.
Happy birthday, Chelsea!
The beautiful, incredible, funny Chelsea Darnell. And I didn't know we were on camera, so I don't know what was going on. But
did.
hopefully we didn't embarrass ourselves too much.
Or
I have no idea.
X-rated.
That was our first time doing like a video share like that. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Might be some blackmail against us.
Could be. So, okay, we just had a good laugh. Okay. But that was fun. You know, there's something watching that video. It tugged at my heartstrings a little bit for a number of reasons, and one of them was look at where we are now. This is crazy.
Yeah.
That you're not going to see something like that happen for a really long time, and that's really
not tug at your heartstrings. It makes
no,
you
it
feel
just,
a little melancholy.
It reminds one where we are right now
and how much we miss.
And just a few months ago, when this happened in November,
fun times.
That's crazy. It's
No
crazy.
more fun times.
No, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. There's a lot of hugging in the video, a lot of shaking hands, a lot of kissing, you know, or as you would call it, flirting. So.
Oh yeah, what you love to do best, right?
So it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange to see that, and what a great time we had, and what a great job that Chelsea did. Chelsea, awesome.
Birthday. We
Happy
love
birthday,
you, and hopefully many, many more.
Yep. And we're so happy
in the future that Chelsea's going to be able to be on the red carpet.
We're so happy that you're a part of the Ed Asner Family Center, and we're so happy that you're a part of our lives. So we love you, and we love your parents, and we love
in general.
So we're gonna bring our first guest in now because we're gonna. Oh, and she's all set up. Look at this. She's all set up.
Amy!
Headphones and everything.
I just didn't want to risk any kind of audio interference. I miss you.
Smart.
No worries.
Smart. I miss you. I miss you. I miss all of you.
How is the quarantining going at home? It's been rough. You know, it's kind of crazy.
We're growing potatoes. It's been.
Ooh.
I would expect nothing less from you.
That's actually Sketch's doing. I'm not. I don't have a green thumb. You growing potatoes. I'm telling them about.
So, yes.
Go on.
So here's my question. So we've been looking at what's been going on in the news and in terms of, we've been going crazy at home trying to get our kids through school and all this homeschooling and trying to work and working from home and
well, Amy's had
Amy,
our kids in her class.
And Amy is teaching class right now.
No, I know, but you're doing online schooling?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been teaching the last 7,
so
8
you
weeks.
definitely know. I did not know that.
Well, so the CDC released the guidelines, I guess, to kind of reopen schools and kind of a long kind of 40-page document that kind of says, hey, this is what needs to happen. I think I posted a photo of it that was kind of an encapsulation, if you will, of what's going to happen or what should happen. And I think a lot of people...
She commented on that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people kind of got upset because I guess maybe I wasn't, but whoever wrote it was playing too loosey-goosey with the languaging. So I looked it up on Snopes, and if people go to Snopes and they look up COVID and child
guidelines for returning to school.
Yeah, it's on Snopes, and you can look at what's right and what's wrong. But let's talk about some of the things that they are suggesting that teachers and schools do in their classrooms, and how possible that is, and how feasible that is, because there's a lot of stuff to digest, about going back to school and doing it right. So let's start with the first thing, face masks.
The advisory on face masks is one of those things that the person who posted that meme we saw was being pretty loosey-goosey with. It suggested face masks for children over the age of 2, as well as faculty and staff members, when feasible and appropriate, was the language that the meme left out.
Oh.
Face masks are helpful. Fabric face masks used universally can reduce the spread of particulate by 98 to 99%. That's particulate, though. It doesn't prevent the actual virus. So your goal is just to prevent people from coughing on each other. Face masks aren't necessarily comfortable to wear all day, and they do limit our ability to read each other's facial expressions. So there are drawbacks, but in my opinion, the benefits outweigh any discomfort because we're trying to keep each other healthy here.
But what about a kid that just refuses to wear one for sensory issue?
That's why everyone else needs to be wearing a face mask to prevent that child from being at risk, and as well to protect themselves from the risk that a child like that does admittedly pose. The other thing that I want to mention, because it has come up, is that people are abusing the ADA laws and saying, I have a disorder that prevents me from being able to wear a mask, and therefore you must let me shop at the grocery store without one.
Oh my goodness. I did not know that.
Well, let's talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty rough.
Because
it's going to hurt the people that really need it the most, isn't it?
When people abuse ADA protections who don't actually need those protections, it undermines the legitimacy of people who do need them. So, for example, people consistently abuse emotional support dog laws.
Right.
I have an emotional support dog who I now can't take places because other people have abused that law.
Right. And I actually did some research into this because I wanted to see what it would take. We're going to hopefully train a dog at some point, as a therapy dog. And I wanted to see what was entailed. And I guess you can actually go online and just get, these certificates now for very little money, like $50 and $30 and just have a certificate that says your dog is a therapy dog. And it's the most crazy thing in the world that you can take any dog out on the street and call it a therapy dog. I mean, we're kind of moving in another direction here, but I understand what you're saying. And when people abuse the law, that is there for a reason. It's there for a very good reason. And people fought long and hard for that law. And when they abuse the law, it creates an issue with implementing the law.
It does. And the ADA requires what are called reasonable accommodations that are safe for both the person requiring those accommodations and the facility that is providing them. So if I can't wear a mask and I need groceries, the reasonable accommodation is not to let me grocery shop with no mask on. It is to call ahead and a employee at the grocery store will shop for me and provide curbside pickup or an equivalent service.
Wow. Okay.
Correct. I get it. Yep. Well, let's move on and talk about class size, because that's a big one. Class size. In order for schools to start, this is really, I think, probably other than face masks, I think, and whether or not that's going to happen or not, I think class size is really everything. I mean, they're saying nothing. They're saying desks have to be spaced 6 feet apart, or actually they don't state 6 feet. They state reasonably far apart. In order for that to happen, that's going to create a very, very big mess at LAUSD. Let's just say LAUSD because that's where we are. That's going to create a mess, isn't it?
We don't, in my opinion, currently have the infrastructure in place in the public school system to fulfill the CDC's recommendations, which is why these aren't concrete rules, they are recommendations. The school should do as much as it can before opening in the fall and hopefully hitting that sufficient point. I don't work in LAUSD, but there aren't currently enough classrooms to space children 6 feet apart. So more schools will have to be built, or more facilities are going to have to be opened up in order to meet this requirement or suggestion.
So does that mean, Amy, that schools could feasibly open up and say, well, we've done the best we can, and then, after week one, they kind of just get lax on safety regulations because in their minds, the best they can is
I'm online.
Close.
I'm on the air. Go away. I love you. Leave.
Oh, that's like that guy. That's like
no, but that person should have come in naked.
Yes, exactly. You missed an opportunity there to go viral, Andy.
I'm thankful that my mother did not end up on the air naked.
Oh my
She wanted to talk to us.
Yes.
Well, we definitely have Deb Marta on though, because she's the second smartest person I've met.
So that's really I think probably the biggest issue is class size and spacing and the ability to not only do that with their students, but also to find the teachers, the manpower to get in and so basically they're going to have to take one class in LAUSD. They'll have to take one class and make 4 classes because let's say there are 40 students in the class. They'll have to make 4 classes of that one class in order for it to meet the guidelines.
Yes. And this is going to call for a huge budgetary overhaul. You're going to have to massively expand your workforce and education in order to meet these requirements. It's a good time to be in school to be a teacher. Maybe. This is assuming that everything goes the way that we believe it should, which is that people are cautious, people are prudent, people are willing to invest in these necessary measures that keep us safe and restructure our society so that we can go back to a new, safer normal.
We'll see if that happens. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't
go.
know what we're going to do. I don't know if I would trust unless, there was some real concrete. I mean, there are going to be parents, and I've talked to parents who have said that they would rather keep their kids home than take a chance on a lax environment. And, especially if you have family members who are immune compromised or
they have 3 months. They have 3 months to figure this out.
Yeah, but isn't there a huge
that's not a lot of time.
a budget cut coming too? It's not. What Amy was talking about is they need more money, not
Now
less
they're
money.
I think 15 million, I think.
19.
Not 19 million. They want to cut from at least California schools.
Yeah.
Which is just, I don't even understand how that's possible.
I
In
don't
the
think that now is a good time to be cutting budgets from necessary resources,
Yeah.
personally.
Crazy.
Well, I think in California we do have a surplus, I believe, but it certainly won't be there after this year is gone. But I would say now's the time to dig into that surplus.
But to parents who are saying, I want to keep my kid at home, I understand that instinct. And I definitely believe that if schools aren't able to meet these recommendations by the CDC, that's something that they should consider. And bearing in mind that these are recommendations, and it's not that every classroom needs to be 6 feet apart with a plexiglass shield on either side of you. We need schools that are doing things like encouraging hand washing, changing their schedules, changing their classroom arrangements, absolutely. There are benefits to going to school beyond just injecting knowledge in your child's brain, though. There are important social and emotional developmental thresholds that you pass in school. And so we need to be working towards safely reopening.
I agree. It's so hard for the kids to be right into I was talking today, Amy, how our kids were just getting in the groove of a new school, and then all this mishugas, and now
means craziness.
She knows that.
I'm Jewish.
One of my tribe. She's one of my tribe.
Okay.
I'm talking to the people at
dare
home.
you.
I'm talking to the people at home.
Fair enough. Your entire audience might not be.
But just the mental state of these kids who are going to be in such an uproar. And I'm reading your thing, Mimi. You're Mimi. And why are you laughing at me? You always laugh at me when I say that.
Mimi.
But I'm reading that thing and I'm thinking, is this a guideline for typical kids? Because I can't even fathom that a kid like Eddie, who he's constantly being redirected not to touch people, not in an overly touchy way, but even like
look.
Anyway, the point is that list would not be possible for Eddie. I put a mask on him, he immediately takes it off.
And that's the thing. I mean, when you add special circumstances to what's going on, it becomes even more difficult to figure that out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about IEPs for a minute. How do you implement an IEP in this situation?
Right.
How do you
I don't
really
think you can have a one-on-one.
Well, it really kind of throws everything out, and you've got to reinvent everything.
We really are going to have to rebuild how we think about education from the ground up on this.
Yep.
And certain things that we're used to are not feasible right now. Excuse me, Lou.
Oh, that's Lou.
Is that?
It's she has a bone and she wants to tell me about it. But things that we're familiar with, things like an IEP and a one-on-one, being able to hold a student's hands, for example, and help them through a motor task, isn't safe right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're really going to not achieve a new safe normal until a vaccine is developed. And at that point, we have to bear in mind that some of our population are vulnerable to vaccine injuries. Some of our students have complex chromosomes that might mean that they're more vulnerable to a negative response, which means that everyone around them has to vaccinate in order to ensure herd immunity for our most vulnerable students. And that's really what's going to be necessary for us to get back to a point where we can hug and hold hands again in public.
Sad. I miss my Amy hugs.
I know, and I miss my Navah hug. So we both need to get the vaccine so that we can hug as soon as it's developed.
We'll be talking.
But that's definitely not going to be anytime soon.
Well, we don't know.
So.
I mean, we don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, traditionally, it takes 10 years to develop a vaccine, but there are encouraging signs that there's a vaccine in China that has had some from what has been stated. There's been some interesting and encouraging signs of a vaccine in China that has to go through peer review, and they have to do all that. But I don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen. And I think that's probably the scariest thing about all this is there's an unknown factor. We don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting because Gary will come on and we'll talk to Gary a little bit about this. But it's all the unknown. Every aspect of this is the unknown, and that's what makes it the hardest.
Right. And I mean, even the CDC guidelines, I imagine, are going to change by September. A lot of this is just walking on shifting sands. And you need to use your best judgment. You need to be cautious. You need to be safe and prudent. And wash your hands and don't lick strange doorknobs.
I got to stop licking strange doorknobs?
Yeah, sorry. It's not a safe habit, Matt.
Well,
it reminds me of the scene in Elf where he's walking through the streets of New York and he's picking gum off the bottom of the subway
that's the one
railing.
part that I
and he's
really
putting
don't like.
I mean,
Don't do that either. That is a great way to get many transmissible diseases.
Yeah, no, not just coronavirus.
Exactly. So, well, look, Amy, thank you so much for joining us. You've been such an incredible part of the Ed Asner Family Center. You've been an incredible instructor there, and we
very inspirational.
Can't wait
to our community and to me personally. And I miss you all, Sketch and Marta, and we will see you. Bring him in for 1 second. I know he's right there.
Sketch.
Sketch
on camera.
Just
they want to see your pretty face.
Sketch, your fish miss you.
No, we all miss you.
And we miss you.
Yay!
There's Sketch. Hi, Sketch.
Still skinny. I would think you'd have gained 20 pounds like all of us. God,
no, I'm just gaining it for him.
Well, look.
It's the Corona 20. We're all getting that. So,
well, actually, before you go, how have your students been dealing with this?
It's been interesting. I've had some students who adapted very well to online learning and just took off like a rocket, and it was cool. I'd email them twice a day and be like, "You were successful? Yes, here's my work." I had other kids who the isolation really hit them hard because school isn't fun for everybody, and learning math is not fun for everybody. And a lot of the times the motivating factor for a student to show up every day is the people they love and that face-to-face interaction. So it's been a challenge definitely to try and replicate that via video calls and email and text messaging to try and recreate as much of that connection as possible.
That's true.
I totally agree. I mean,
so many kids are, some kids are like Amy said, are blossoming, and other kids are really, really going into, we're dealing, Amy, with the mental health and the counseling with our telehealth, and a lot of the teens and adults are really struggling with the social disconnect, really struggling.
Even if you're a little bit of an antisocial autistic introvert like I am, you still benefit from being face-to-face with people. It's important for your psychological health.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. And I know I need it.
Especially after seeing that video of all the fun times we used to have.
I know, Chelsea. Happy birthday, Chelsea, by the way.
Oh, yes.
But, seeing that video just made me crave a hug.
I know.
Right.
Amy was at the first gala and spoke amazingly as one of our...
Gave an incredible speech.
Yes. And, it's going to happen again. We have to be hopeful. And as Amy said, it's going to happen again, but with a totally different look to it, but it's going to happen again. I have hope that we're going to all be together again soon.
Well, Amy, I thank you for joining us today, and keep doing great work, and keep teaching those kids and being the great teacher you are. And we can't wait to get you back in the center. And we miss you.
I miss you too. And thank you so much for having me. And I guarantee the minute your doors are open, I'm going to be running a class in your center again.
Yay. Love you.
We love
Amy.
you. We'll see you soon.
Love you lots. Have an excellent and safe week.
Thank
you too. Love you all.
Well, that's great.
She's an amazing. Those kids are lucky kids to have Amy as their teacher. I'll tell you that.
They are. I remember, who was your favorite teacher? I know you didn't have a lot of teachers.
Poor Maddie. Do you not know my
No,
story?
I know. I should not have
I'm
have
not
any
gonna.
teachers.
That's a whole nother story.
No,
That's a whole
that
nother.
But
a whole nother
I can speak
program.
for myself because I did have teachers, and I had one.
You had a lot of things I didn't have.
You're right, I did. But I had one teacher.
A lot of
I had
opportunities and
I know,
food
yeah.
and electricity and
Okay.
things I didn't have.
That's true.
Anyway. Who was your favorite teacher?
But your father gave you the C.
Yes, and recreated me.
My favorite teacher really changed my life. He really did. He created a world where that I could see, and before that, I had problems seeing. And
That's wonderful.
he created a very complex world that I could see in, and it was beautiful. His name is John Craig, and he was
Changed Matt Asner's life.
he did, and he
Well, a teacher can.
no,
change
he
your
was
life.
he challenged me in a way that got me to do the work. He challenged me in a way that got me to do the work, and
I do have a teacher story.
Oh, see, you do. See, oh,
no,
here
well,
we go.
we dabbled. We dabbled if we were in a place long enough. And I went to Concordia High with some of my greatest friends, some of the best surfers in the world. But Kurt Page, Mr. Page, was my teacher for 4th and 6th grade. And I was there for probably a month in total. But I loved to learn. I loved to read. I could read 3 or 4 books a day. And so I would just say to him, when we're going on the road, give me assignments. I'll do everyone's assignment. I just wanted to learn and write. And so he'd give me all these different assignments, and it would say something like, write 3 sentences. And I would write like 3 chapters. So he would give me my year-long grades, even though I was only there so he would, in Hawaii, they call it juicing people. He would
juice you.
Push me ahead. But I'm still friends with that dude on Facebook.
That's awesome.
Kurt Page, saying hello to you.
I actually reconnected with John Crawford not too long ago, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and
Oh, wow.
and I got to see him. He lives up in Chico, and I went up to see him, and I told him, I said, look, you don't understand. You really affected my life. You really changed my life for the better, and I think he was really touched to hear that. And
I think that's why teachers get into it. Well, not all teachers. There are some bad apples, but I think most teachers look at a little kid who was once themselves. I remember Aviva in kindergarten saying to her kindergarten teacher, who I am also still friends with, I want to be a art teacher when I grow up, when she was in kindergarten.
And look at what she's doing now.
Yes.
Art teaching at the center. So, interesting story, and we're still on teachers. So I walked into 9th grade. I got to my 9th grade class and social studies class. I walk into the social studies class, and the teacher is standing there. He says, hello, how are you doing? And I said, fine. And I realized who it was when I sat down.
I love this story.
And it was Peter Tork from the Monkees. And he's sitting there teaching my social studies class. And I'm like, I used to watch you every morning,
Hey, with the
like before
Monkees.
school, like 7 o'clock in the morning, they'd
I
show
love the
reruns of the
Monkees.
Monkees, and it would be like, and I'm like, wow,
That's awesome.
And he was,
If it had been Davy Jones.
if it had been David Jones, but
No,
Peter Tork, I
love
guess
them.
he had I just
Fallen
got
on hard
fallen on
times.
hard times, and he became a teacher and had to teach bratty kids in Beverly Hills, and so he taught at my school because I was a bratty kid in Beverly Hills.
I'm sure of
And
that.
and he he didn't like me because I was a
Because you were a
daydreamer.
bratty kid.
I was a daydreamer. Did I get an A in social studies class? I
Did you get an A?
did get an A in social studies class. Yes. But
You
not
got an A?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah. But he didn't like me. He didn't like me. So every day in social studies class, I'd be like this in class. I'd be like, oh, and he'd go, what did I just say? And I would answer it. I would tell him exactly what
Yeah.
he had just said. And so he got really frustrated with me and finally gave up, just stopped trying to nail me. And then we kind of got along okay. But he was a nice guy. He was a cool guy. He was really popular with the hippies in the school.
You went to kind of a hippie school, though, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of.
He was really popular with the Deadheads and the people who liked, classic rock, and wasn't classic rock at the time, but, like Led Zeppelin. And he would be at lunch and they'd be doing air guitar in the yard, and really interesting kind of to watch him, and very interesting, very interesting. So every kind of other show, I think maybe we did it last time, but every other show we like to check in with our Dr. Gary, who's in Washington, and he's going to join us right now. He's going to give us a little bit of a health report and seeing how we're doing. How you doing, Gary?
Hello.
All right, a little
Is
windy.
that a puppy dog?
Oh,
today you're a puppy dog.
I love the mask.
Oh, I've got Scooby Doo.
It's a Scooby Doo mask.
That movie got horrible.
Is that like from the movie?
Yeah.
Have you seen it? I heard it was not the greatest movie of all time.
I have not seen it yet.
With all your spare time, you're going.
I think we should have Chelsea review that next time she's
Yeah.
on. So Gary, how are we doing?
Oh, it's been terrible here this week.
Oh no, bad weather. I remember you told me.
Well, the wind's blowing today.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Are you seeing?
As far as testing, a lot of testing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And actually a lot more flu than we thought we'd get right now. So a bunch of that. And just staffing's an issue. And it's been a tough week.
A lot of flu. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It seems late for the flu.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I don't know what I'm talking about, but it seems.
Yeah, but I think the summer we start to actually have a few. So I don't know whether this is just a combination of people are so run down. Maybe run down is causing a kick up on that. So
Gary, I read an article this morning about this Chinese vaccine that that they're saying could be like the one, possibly. What are your thoughts on that?
So I saw that. I was looking that up as well. And, it's definitely a possibility. We're hoping. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to get us out of that is a treatment or a vaccine. But it's looking promising from everything I've read. It's looking good.
Now, in order for that to happen, right, what are the steps that have to take place?
So they've still got to do their trial. And I think we talked about that before, that they're saying, they've got to do at least a 6-month trial. And that's fast tracking it. I mean, a lot of times it's a year or two down the road. But if they fast track it, I guess they can do it. But that's still a little bit scary when you try to press something through that fast to know the actual result.
Let's talk about that for a second. I'm interested in that. Okay, so a lot of people are worried about them fast tracking a vaccine, saying, "Oh,
any vaccine."
Well, let's talk about that. So we're worried about them fast tracking it. What are some of the pitfalls that could happen if they fast track a vaccine? Let's talk about.
What are you looking at as far as your side effect profile? I mean, how is this going to affect people? It's always been a thing where, what have vaccines caused people in the past? With different defects. Is fast tracking this not going to give them a chance to study that, and you're going to have some of these things that they've had in the past in a different way. We don't know. I mean, 6 months is an awful short time to try to get something through that's that.
Well, let's be real about this. Go ahead.
What concerns me though is that this virus is so weird and morphy that I would think, I'm not a doctor, I just play one on TV, but I mean, I would think that how would you create a vaccine for something that's so novel and changes? I mean, I felt like our kids were safe. That's the one thing that kept me from not losing my marbles. And now all of a sudden, this new version of the coronavirus, where the kids are getting in this very, very strange, scary way. I mean,
that's exactly it, though. I mean, what are we going to see in mutations? Think about think about the flu vaccines that we get, and we've got the A strain, the B strain, C, all these different strains of it. And we try to tell people here, get your flu vaccine later in the year, so it's based off of this year's model, not last year's model, because it's already changed. You're exactly right.
That's true.
Hey, Gary, can you repeat that?
Repeat that. That's a very important comment.
As far as the flu vaccine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we look at it when I work in the ER here, we look at the vaccine and we always tell people, the longer you can wait in the year, you can actually watch the CDC map and see where the flu is hitting the worst. If you get your vaccine right away when they say, oh, let's get it in, you know, the August, September, you're looking at data that's from last year. If you get a vaccine later in the year, as you see that CDC map change, and let's say it's in Wyoming coming our way, just using that as an example, they're now trying to base that data off what's being found in New York at the time, right then and there. So it's more of an updated vaccine as the year goes along. So it's that play game, you know. Are you going to get it right? Are you going to get the right vaccine for the right time?
I guess with my mom and the elderly thing, they're always giving the older people in her home vaccines at the very beginning, and I always said that because seems to me that somebody had said that, and I think that they're just, you know, it's a matter of caution rather than. Gary, somebody is asking us, our friend Amy is saying, what is the approximate mutation rate of COVID-19 compared to the flu? Do you know that answer?
Well, no, that's the thing. I don't think we know yet. When you're
no one knows that.
I mean, you and I talked about, you know, the actor there, Cordera, that's got it, and how different that's reacting in him. Is that a different strain? We won't know for a while until they really test some of that tissue. And then you've got the kids getting it and how that's affecting them. Is it the cart before the horse? Did they already have a condition that this allowed to make worse, or is this a change in the virus? I don't think we know the answer to that yet.
Ugh.
Well, hopefully it won't be long until we know that.
More uncertainty.
I guess that with that comes all the answers, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Or a lot of the answers.
When we know how it changes, and I think it has. You know, I've seen in some of the literature at least one really positive mutation where it's got a side chain that's different. That's one. So I mean, we know at least one.
So
I'm gonna have Aviva send you a mask that she paints. That looks so cute.
That would be good. I've got a Buzz Lightyear one in there too. So
she loved your stitch, though. Aviva did a stitch class, and Gary had done this beautiful stitch as a Jedi with a lightsaber and everything.
Well,
it's really cute.
For everyone out there, Gary's an incredible artist. And if you haven't seen the story time with Ed Asner about Darby's Down Day, that's Gary's book, and you can buy it at the center. You can send us an email at info@asnerfamilycenter.org, and you can buy Gary's book, and he's donating all the proceeds to the center. And it's a great book. And Gary, I haven't talked to you really since then. What did you feel about Darby's Down Day being read for story time?
Oh, I love that. We all watched it at our house. Hannah was almost in tears. So she was sitting with me going, oh my gosh, that's so great. So everybody loved it.
So awesome.
It's just a great story. Matt, you can't, I bet you can't wait to see what you get in the mail. It should be there by Tuesday. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, now I'm excited.
It's my birthday coming up. Not
I know. I told you yours is next. Yours is next.
I thought I was your favorite. Oh,
I told you yours is coming next.
All right.
Well, I wait for it with bated breath. I'm excited and look forward to it. And if you want to check out Gary's book and hear it and buy
his
it,
Instagram too. His Instagram is super cool.
Yeah, go to our YouTube.
What is
or our Facebook page.
Write
and
Gary's
you can see it
Instagram
there.
so people can.
Gary, what's your Instagram?
He has the coolest Instagram.
That at Billadoo
Art.
BILODEAUX
_art.
That's a fun. Gary has a really fun Instagram page, and I think you should all follow him.
There it is, right there. Billadoo Art.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that right, Gary?
That's perfect.
Yay.
Okay.
From what I can see when the sun came out.
Yay.
Well, Gary, I want to thank you for joining us and letting us know, giving us our update. It's been great talking to you as always. Thank you for keeping us updated, and we'll be talking to you in a week or so.
He's G-Dog today.
Excellent. I'll keep
He's
posting
G-Dog.
it.
Bye,
All right,
G-Dog.
All right.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Gary.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Aww.
Gary Billadoo, Dr. Gary, giving us the update. So
and a little more hopeful this time. We always end on a kind of a sauerbraten note with him because it's usually bad news,
I
but
like sauerbraten.
you like sauerbraten?
Yeah.
Sauerkraut?
Sure.
I wanted to mention to you and to our community to don't forget on Tuesday, Krista and I are going to have a special graduate show. And you can honor your graduate. I know it's mostly about the state of mind that a lot of our graduates are in high school and college. I know a lot of our really close friends, the Shoham family, beautiful Daniel Shoham just graduated from Brandeis with honors, and he can't have the experience that they had dreamt about all these years. Think about how many years they dreamt about before Daniel was going to graduate. So we really want to honor our graduates on Tuesday with Chris and I's show, and send us a picture of your graduate. Let us honor them with a picture and their name, and send it to Navah at asnerfamilycenter.org, and would love to get their picture up on Tuesday. So please do that.
All right.
All right.
And then we have this week, tomorrow we have Arts and Crafts with Aviva.
Aviva.
At
teacher.
noon. And we have Chelsea Movie Chat.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing High School Musical this week. So you watch High School Musical, and then at 7 o'clock, join a Zoom for High School Musical. And then on Sunday, we're going to skip we're going to have yoga on Sunday. Zoom, yoga Zoom with Shauna on Sunday. We're skipping story time.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be back very soon, but not this weekend. And then Monday music, Tuesday, Krissa and Navah,
yeah,
and
our
your graduate
show.
pictures. Wednesday, Aviva Art with Aviva. Thursday, Liz,
Whoa, this is
physical
a quiz.
therapy.
I'm
And
quizzing
then
you right
Friday, Corona Kitchen with Shelby,
now. Mm-hmm.
and then back with us again. So sliding home with us again. So we enjoy doing this for you.
Oh, and we have a
We hope you
surprise
enjoy it.
on Monday that we're going to announce. An exciting
Yes, we
surprise.
do. We have lots of surprises that we're going to be
Monday's
announcing.
surprise I'm
Next
really
week is a
excited
big
about.
week of announcements.
Yes.
It's going to be huge. So tune in next week. Tune in for all of our stuff next week. We love you. Until
Thank
then,
you so much.
keep the seatbelt buckled. Take
Stay
care.
safe.